of Government of India. It is presided by the Honorable Prime Minister of India. So the structure we have is a governing board that is chaired by the Honorable Prime Minister, and an executive council that is chaired by the Principal Scientific Advisor, and I report to these boards. And so ANRF is an organization to catalyze India's rise as a research and innovation powerhouse. And over the course of the next few minutes, I'll give you an overview of this. Okay, so without further ado, our Honorable Prime Minister has raised the idea of Anusandhan or research to the same level as Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, and Jai Vigyan. Okay, so the key point here is that the future of India and the achieving the goals of Viksit Bharat is going to rest on multiple pillars, and human capability that we have, and the ability of our human minds to think, to do research, and to enable a new kind of economy is going to be our key asset going forward. In addition to all the other investments the country is making in infrastructure, whether it's physical infrastructure like roads, ports, railways, and airports, and all the other kinds, and power infrastructure, and so on and so forth, as well as the digital infrastructure like Aadhaar, all the JAM Trinity, as well as UPI, and beyond the India Stack, and so on. So think of that as physical infrastructure, digital infrastructure. Now we're talking about human and social infrastructure. And you all sitting in the room are asset of India to take us forward. So the ANRF has a genesis as part of the national education policy, which identified the need for an organization, similar to organizations like the National Science Foundation, DARPA, etc., in the United States, especially the National Science Foundation and other research organizations, which stand separate from any single ministry and can coordinate and focus on doing one thing really well, which is funding, right? So we are, while we may do a few other small things, we will focus primarily being a foundation that really drives both the raising as well as allocating and governing, the outcomes of funding. So as the ANRF Act was notified in 2023, and ANRF further came into effect in 2024. Between the 2020 and 23, there were several other expectations that ANRF had. We had to do a lot more mission mode programs, and ANRF itself is a broader mechanism for funding in India, and you will see this in the way we go forward. So therefore, our agenda here in ANRF is in some ways much larger than what a National Science Foundation or DARPA, even the combination of them, is in the United States. So the governance structure here is we are presided by the Honorable Prime Minister, and there's an executive council chaired by the Honorable Principal Scientific Advisor to the Government of India, and then I represent the execution of all of their directions. So the governing board had a meeting last year and has given directions, and then we are rapidly operationalizing and executing all of these over the last year. So if you want a one-slide summary of ANRF, this is a one-slide summary, I would say. So ANRF is designed to, catalyze and revolutionize the research and innovation infrastructure in India, primarily through funding mechanisms of various interfere in those things. But going forward, ANRF is going to have two major mechanisms. One is called the ANRF Core, where we are going to do grant and aid funding of different types to really transform the foundation of India's research and innovation ecosystem, as well as drive mission mode research. Okay, I'll explain all of this shortly. But then there is another fund being created, has been approved for creation, as well as has been created right now and will be announced shortly, called the RDI fund. And some of you might have heard of this as the 1 lakh crore fund. This is not a grant program. This is a patient capital program, which means it is capital in the form of, the difference between capital and grant is when I give you the money and I don't expect it back. Whereas a non-grant means that it's capital, which means I give you money, I expect it back. Okay. So patient capital is I might be patient, but I still expect the money back. Okay. Because it's taxpayers' money. And then, of course, the returns and so on can be differential, as well as when the returns can come, we can be patient about, and so on and so forth. So I think that's the nature of that capital. So that will be announced and a lot more details coming out shortly. So the RDI fund at a very high level is a 1 lakh crore fund that is going to be coming through ANRF, where ANRF is the custodian of the money. And coming from the central government through the anchor ministry DST and as a loan. So there are two parts. Our grant funding is for the grants and the RDI is a loan. Even we have to give back the money to the taxpayers back. Okay, we in turn then allocate it to second level fund managers who are charged with the mission of deploying that capital. And all those details will be laid out shortly. But broadly, there are second level fund managers who can be alternate investment funds, they can be focused research organizations or deep tech fund of funds, etc., etc. There are some other categories like DFIs and NBFCs and so on, and even some corporates can come. That primarily that whole fund is primarily for private sector, whereas the other funds are primarily for academia labs and the collaboration between that and the private sector. So the Executive Council and the EGOS, which is a empowered group of secretaries, are important governance elements here. Okay, so I will pay more, attention in our talk towards the rest of ANRF, which is the core funding or the core grant funding of ANRF. Here again, we are organized into two parts. One is horizontal and vertical. Horizontal is broad-based funding, similar to how National Science Foundation does funding, and it is exemplified by programs like our ARG, which is our Advanced Research Grant programs, and the PMECRG and other fellowship programs, and so on and so forth, right? So we'll be doing more in the space. So I want to emphasize that we intend to fund basic research. We intend to deepen our funding for basic and interdisciplinary research. We are also increasing our funding in different mechanisms and so on. So there is sometimes some worry that ANRF is losing focus or not funding basic research. That is absolutely not true. We are actually increasing the funding for basic research, but we will govern it very differently from how we will govern more mission mode research. Okay, so the vertical part is more mission mode and more targeted and more directed research, if I can call it that, whereas horizontal is more broad-based, and will be many smaller grants, whereas vertical might be larger grants, but much more accountability as well as mission-oriented focus and governance around it. We'll also be working with industry, startups, MSMEs, and others to partner and complement around this. And different programs have different structures that enable such partnerships. I'll explain some of that going forward. So another way of looking at ANRF is all the horizontal programs. You can think of that as the foundational things. So we have a foundation of science, we have foundation of interface of science and technology with social sciences, humanities, and a wide variety of capacity building capabilities, both fellowships and events and other support, travel support, etc. And then vertical is more uplifting the research ecosystem. We want to broaden the distribution of excellence, and that's one of the key pillars from our founding documents, such as the National Education Policy. And then mission mode research, which is a lot more focused on specific sectors, specific societal problems, and so on. And we're going to be doing many more things around industry academic collaboration, more directly, translational and other things. But notice that each of these are different, and we will not be schizophrenic. And when we do one thing, we will govern it appropriately, and so on. So and then along with it is a lot of work on ease of doing science, where we are aiming to reduce the burden on individual principal investigators, and then concentrating all administrative functions or more of the administrative functions in nodal officers. So IISER Bhopal needs to have a nodal officer who is from the administration of research, and working with counterparties on our side. In case that has not yet been appointed and so on, I would urge your leadership to kindly appoint one and let us know, because that needs to happen. Only then then the load on the PIs, principal investigators, be reduced. And then overall, we'll be doing many other tools and dashboards and other sorts of things and platforms of nature that establishes ANRF as an apex for research and innovation. And we will also collaborate as well as coordinate across multiple ministries and so on. So that's the sort of like a house or Acropolis sort of view of ANRF. Okay, and you can sort of map our various programs. As you can see, many of our current programs as well as refashioned programs are part of the foundation, and we are increasingly launching new programs that are more in these pillars and verticals, and we'll be doing many more as we go forward. Okay, just to give you a sense of our current programs, the PAIR is an example of a vertical program focused on broadening the distribution of excellence and having a hub, which is one of the leading institutions with multiple spokes, which are aspiring institutions. And then these aspiring institutions, we are supporting both a combination of facilities, people, and we have a PM professorship programs where we are supporting potential professors going to these institutions, and we have selected 7 such networks, as well as supported at a smaller level 11 more such networks, and we will be doing further rounds of these things going forward, right? So our goal is to both increase the funding and support to these spoke networks, but also with the mentoring support, as well as the current cycle of PM ECRG is again open, and I would strongly urge the folks who are eligible for PMECRG to kindly apply to that. And then the Maha EV mission is an example of a mission mode program. So again, would like to draw your attention to various mission mode programs. We have many we have launched. Electric mobility is one where we selections have done. There it's underway. MedTech is currently getting a lot of proposals coming in. We have done a couple of webinars on this. We have just we are going through an AI meets science and engineering, since there's a meeting around data sciences and so on. So I would urge you all to look at the AI for science and engineering. It's a significant program that you can submit to, and so on. So we're going to be launching some others. There is a one on 2D materials on the road right now, as well as we'll be launching one on critical raw materials and one more on drones shortly. So we're also looking at how we can launch more societal programs which are vertical in nature. Either we combine a bunch of them and launch them together, or we do some particular verticals, we do something special. But all of these tend to be cross ministerial and so on. So typically we as ANRF partner with one or more departments or ministries, and we've already done this with 5 or 6 ministries in the last 6 months. So we'll be doing many more and so on. So the that also reflects ANRF roles as an apex organization to enable collaboration across all of government, and we hope to also extend this capability to go beyond the to give you an idea, since we're talking about a data science workshop and so on, so AI for Science and Engineering is a program currently, right now on the road, which is, think of it as a mission for AI for Science and Engineering. We are doing this in partnership with MIT, which is giving us a whole bunch of GPUs and allocation for us. And then we have 2 tracks. One is a programs track, and the other is a contest track. Think of it as a challenge, a hackathon, or those sorts of open source challenges, contest where there are prize money and things of that nature. But as with a different set of ministries, AI for Bio and Life Sciences, EBT, as well as some external partners like Gates Foundation and so on. AI for Weather and Climate Modeling, we're doing with the MOES, Ministry of Earth Sciences, and their Mission Mawsum program. We are doing engineering design, AI for engineering, AI for science, AI for engineering design, and accelerated material development in partnership with DRDO and so on, right? So you can see us bringing in whole of government, multiple scientific departments involved in this. And our intent here is that all the outcomes of this particular program will be open source models or open source data, and the goal is to then organize them as part of AI Kosh, which the mighty India AI mission runs, and then also loosely organize them as a coherent set of entities or capabilities that can then drive the creation of new applications in drug discovery, biochemical discovery, climate and weather, aerospace design, advanced material design, etc., etc. So our goal is to then, therefore, overall help India transform how we do science and engineering, especially IISER Bhopal being one of the premier science education institutions and research institutions. I would urge you to really take this opportunity and both collaborate and submit to these programs, and also take advantage of the various mechanisms here to really transform how you do science, and how you take the impact of deep science to deep tech. Okay, I firmly believe that there is no deep tech without deep science, but at the same time, the deep scientists researchers must remember that they are no longer in the world of Einstein, where he was a patent clerk and did his theories in isolation. Whereas now we are in a world that is connected, which is a world of social media. So please do your deep sciences, but also take responsibility for dissemination through social media, etc. And we expect that as part of our our work. We will support and we will enhance the support for deep science, but we expect more impact and more bigger problems, bigger and responsibility for broader dissemination, as well as taking ownership of potential impact and knowledge dissemination. Okay, so there are other programs which we have done. I will skip some of these, which are currently underway, and some of them we are expecting proposals over the next month or so, right? So I will not get into some of these. These are just some of the things I've mentioned: medtech and 2D materials and PAIR, etc. Okay, so this gives you an idea of the distribution of entities, and this is just the category A. There is also 80 other entities that have been given some support under category B, and they're eligible, etc., to come further in future. So the PM ECRG is again a primary method. We support our early career researchers. The ARG program, I'm sure many of you might have submitted proposals. We are under review. It's taken a little bit longer because we've gotten tons of proposals, over 12,500 proposals we've gotten here. So it's been taking us a longer time than we expected. But we are also improving our capability to do better in evaluation. So we've recently closed a program called the Convergence Centers program for bridging social sciences, humanities, and science and technology, and we'll be establishing centers and so on. This is also under evaluation right now. And as part of our Apex role, we are also putting together platforms, and some of these platforms there is this Anusandhan Master Platform, Anumapi, which we are currently building, and this is more of a mock-up of what it may look like. And then the goal is to be able to quickly identify and discover people, discover technologies, discover research, and connect with what's going on. And each of your universities and so on should get aggressive in dissemination of what you're doing, so that we can pick it up in Anumapi and make it available for the entire country, so that we can do more. In further, we are using social media very strategically from ANRF to not just blow our own trumpet or announce our programs, but more of amplifying the research and impact of you. So as individual researchers, we want each of you to build your brands, each of your teams to build the impact of what you're doing. And we are in the process of amplifying. So we have created for each of our line programs, we have created channels which can be used as well. And we main capability of SARL is to take technical papers and then convert them into a wide range of secondary media. I don't know why the internet technology is unstable. Let me change my. Okay, great. SARL is an initiative, really, not just a simple tool and so on. Again, I would strongly encourage all researchers to start using SARL. It's a very, very easy tool, and we are now creating single-click capabilities. And in fact, we're calling it SARLify, where you can go to any preprint or archive type of paper and convert it automatically into social media, in this case, videos, etc. We are now extending it to posters. We are extending it to patents, to posters, a wide variety of. We want to take a wide variety of primary media, convert it to a wide variety of secondary media, and use it as a means for knowledge diffusion, for democratizing research, as well as for technology diffusion, for collaboration, for research impact, and other things. So please take it extremely seriously. This is something which I've been urging on social media, and I would strongly expect. In fact, we're going to make it a requirement in our, funding. If you get any funding from me, or if you have any funding from me, whether in the past or the future, please expect to be a lot more active on social media. This is for your own good, because we would like to then amplify and celebrate the work done by our colleagues. We are also doing lightning talks. We'll be doing many more media-related things. But our goal of media is not just to market and use it as a PR mechanism. Our goal of media is to use it as a first-class science dissemination mechanism and really aggressively promote and all our researchers and research done in India. So if you are not using Saral, if you're not being active on this thing, you're missing a big trick, and you'll soon be in breach of your commitments to me. So please take it seriously and adopt it. Okay, is the message I'd like to give you. But I hope you'll find it exciting, because this is all part of a whole bunch of open science publishing and ultimately a community we want to create and show the power of what India's research can do. Okay. Broadly, we are also driving partnerships where donors and partners can co-invest in our programs and so on. So I will leave this page on for a second. These are various of our links. You can follow us on various social media, pick up any one of the social media and connect to us, whether it's on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube. We are there. Okay. And if you're not following us, you're missing a lot of interesting things, as well as, we are going to be amplifying this thing. So, if you're mentioning interesting things you're doing, please use the hashtag ANRF India, which we will then, be amplifying. And also, if you want me to read your papers, please use Saral and make a simple video and post it on LinkedIn. I tend to watch every Saral video that's being made and posted. Okay. So if you want the attention of the CEO of ANRF, you know what you need to do. Okay. With that, I want to say thank you, and I hope you have a great conference. And look, NRF intends to transform India, and what that means is, you need two to tango. We will do our bit from the government, both in terms of funding as well as catalyzing and using all these platforms and cheerleading and various other things we need to do. But I need the community to step up. It's no longer a fund and forget model or laid back model of research. We are going to do much more exciting, vibrant, collaborative, as well as impactful research. And that's an exciting future we all want to do go together. Okay, with that, thank you. If you have a few questions, I'll be happy to take it. Moderator will be great. I can't hear any questions.
Thank you, Dr. Kalyanaraman, for that insightful talk. It is now my pleasure to invite Head of our department, Dr. Tanmay Basu, to kindly thank Dr. Kalyanaraman for his words and also share some words about Department of Data Science at IISER Bhopal.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for your enlightening talk, particularly when you said like deep tech is not possible with deep science. Because it's our IISER's vision is to promote science-based innovations and technology. We have a very active incubation cell, which actually actively working on incubating startups. Many of our students have startups. That's what actually we wanted you here in person, but because of your busy schedules, you could not. But I'm sure like in future, we'll be able to have you here so the students will feel motivated.
Hey, look, if you guys, thoroughly each of your papers, I will see each one of them. Each one I will read.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
if and only if you guys do use it. Okay.
You already have a feedback on that. So, yeah.
Okay,
And,
but I'm not seeing action. Okay, so that's why I'm telling.
yeah, we will. Yeah. Yeah. So with this, so initially we had another program, another conference going on. That's what initially there is a little coordination issue. I'm really sorry about that. And we would have more interactions with you, as you said, like through social media and through other meetings and conferences. And I do
And please also respond to the programs we have open. We have MedTech open. We have AI for Science and Engineering open. Since it's a data science thing, I hope you guys know about these programs and will respond.
Right. We are, many of us are, also working on that and submitting proposals in many of the new calls. Yeah. So, sir, there are one or two questions, if you please.
Yeah. Quickly, if you can ask, I have to shortly.
So our former Dean Research and Development, Professor Sanjeet Konar, currently is the Dean of Faculty Affairs. Want to talk to you, yeah.
Hello, sir. How are you? Last time I met you in Shivkumar, you remember me?
Yes, of course I do.
The conference. After that meeting, we had a meeting with all the vice chancellors. That was in this university. I forget the name of the university in Delhi, slightly outskirts of the Delhi.
Yeah.
So I attended that, and what I have noticed that Almost all the, I am bit, sometimes bit critical, don't take it in a negative sense. Many of the vice chancellors, they're telling that we started AI in or data science department of in healthcare. Some of them are telling that we had started in agritech, AI in agritech, and having 200, 300 students. Many of them are. Then I ask a question: to have a proper training of the students, you need a lot of GPUs, as per my understanding. If you want to train 200 students in the undergraduate level as a BTech program in agritech or medtech or whatever it is, whether India is at this moment capable of catering that requirement of providing that quantity of GPUs to train our young students so that they can be market ready or they can do independent research, whatever it is. So that is my question. I know government is doing a lot. That I really thank you all government agencies, but that is a bit concern to me that we are expanding very fast, but whether the required infrastructure is also being considered to be expanded at the same speed.
Yeah, no, thank you for the question. I think it is important to understand that there is two types of infrastructure, right? One is a GPU you would buy and put it in your own university. Okay. The other is a GPU that is obtained in the cloud by MIT and made available. Okay. So MIT is already contracted for close to 40,000 GPUs and they're being ramped up at a very rapid pace. And then if you make a proposal to MIT for a particular purpose, especially research and education and innovation and startups are all supported. And as part of my program, for example, for AI for science and engineering, we have a significant allocation of GPUs for my research program. And I can tell you that it's fairly straightforward to apply to them and get it as well. So if that application has not gone, so you should understand that GPUs are being offered as a service, not as a CapEx item. So it is not a CapEx that you buy and put and install and have a rack next to you. It is sitting somewhere in the cloud, but then you get access to GPU hours of various kinds. This is the modern way of doing things. So the government is using that to also build the GPU infrastructure, but then procuring it at a top level and also subsidizing it and making it available to sort of the research and ecosystem. So that's the approach that is being done. But I can assure you that MIT, which is the nodal ministry, has already procured 40,000 GPUs, 40,000. Okay, and then it is increasing at a rapid rate. Of course, they're also being allocated, but there should be no issue for asking. If you guys ask how much GPU hours you need, you make a request to MIT as part of your programs. Kavita Bhatia ji and Abhishek Singh ji take care of that program, and that is being coordinated through MIT. So what we do is we are driving research programs, not education programs. That support for education comes from them.
Okay, so thank you. Wonderful to know that you already have like government as well as all the like ministries are considering that point very seriously. May I ask one more question? So I put one more question towards the students here, like whether this whatever we are using like output of the AI, if you want to reach out to the 1.4 billion common people, Aam Aadmi, whether we can think about this multilingual approach to handling the AI, because English, I know English is a common language in the higher education system, but many people are still left out.
Look, I think that's the purpose of the Bhashini project, which is part of Digital India, which is both creating text to speech so that one can speak to AI as opposed to interact, having to type and so on. Just the ability to speak to AI and speak via not just smartphones. Bhashini is also working along with a number of other players, including all the telecom players, so that Bhashini access is also available through normal, I would say feature phones, not just smartphones. Okay. So the access using the billion mobile users in India and the ability to use both feature phones and smartphones. And Bhashini supports multiple languages. In fact, our Saral AI, we have integrated with Bhashini and we also have integrated with Sarvam AI. Now, Saral, in the November release, which is going to come in a couple of days, is going to support 19 languages.
Oh, wonderful. Great. Wonderful.
Okay, 19 languages. So what it means is that suppose somebody in a local language, in one of those 19 languages, would like to read a research paper. Okay. Now the research paper is in Nature. Okay, Nature paper or science paper, very complex to understand. What Saral does is convert that research paper it thoroughlifies. In other words, it simplifies it, demystifies it, and converts it into a video form. So, and in the next release, we are also going to create reels, right? You can have your papers and create Facebook reels. Yes, we control it to video form. We give you a PowerPoint presentation, we give you a PDF presentation. So with a single click, we can do that. So our thinking is the following. Researchers are great at writing papers. They're not great at social media or creating videos. So Saral bridges that gap, and it also converts languages into 19 languages. So we are also going to increasingly push this. Again, my humble request, if you have not tried Saral, please try it.
As a dean of the institute, I can commit that I am going to write an email to all that please make use of it, and we will like enforce it, kind of, because it's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Pick one
Whatever I
paper.
understand.
Look, it's not a matter of forcing somebody. It's a matter of asking them to try it. You will find it's relatively easy to use. And once you do it for one paper, you'll get hooked onto it. Okay. And anybody can do it. You can be a student and use it. You can be a faculty and use it. You can be a research staff, a researcher and use it. Anybody can use it, right? And then we are going to make it even more simpler, where you just press a button and it'll automatically go to all the media, etc. Right? All of this will be done. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Sir, there is one more question from one of the students, if you please.
Okay, last. I got to go after this. Yeah.
And, last question. Yeah. Extremely thank you, sir, for being here, and again for like taking your time. One question from on behalf of all the students that we have is. We as students of the Department of Data Science explore multiple domains during our thesis, be it PhD, MS or BS. We would like to know from you, especially since all of these projects are actually funding intensive. When we come into labs, we understand why funding is like that the important thing. So what are the special area of focus that ANRF is thinking as of now to fund or align their goals into, so that we align our goals in the same direction and get our work done in a fast pace? We'd like to understand the exact pinpoint areas of work, if that allows.
As a broad-based funding agency, we fund all areas of science and engineering. Okay, so there is I mentioned horizontal, right? Just like National Science Foundation, the US funds many areas. We fund all areas, and that's the foundation, right? It's like the top of the funnel and the foundation and so on, right? So that is one part. Now, the vertical, we've been launching missions. Okay, we have been launching missions, but over time, we'll be launching many more missions. Okay, and these missions are indicative of the areas of priority. So we've launched one on electric vehicles, we've launched one on 2D materials, we've launched one on medical technologies, we've launched one on AI for science and engineering. Within that, there is 4 separate areas. We're going to launch one on critical raw materials. We've launched one on, we're going to launch one on drones. But this doesn't mean this is the end of it, right? We're going to launch many more. So it is an expanding pie, not a fixed pie. Okay, so I would urge you to focus on where your interests take you, and by and large, we will be doing many things in many areas, like and over time it will cover many of these areas. It is just that I've been in my job only for the last 6 months, and we've already launched so many things. Okay, so we'll be launching many more. So my suggestion is think of this as an expanding area. It is not like a fixed area, oh, and I've missed the boat or I've missed some bus and all of those things. Okay, so focus this thing, and please follow us on social media. Okay, and I've already given you links and so on. So because if you track us on social media, you can see many things that we do. Okay, and all these would be indicative, so that you can keep abreast of what we do. And also, I've given many talks, just like I'm speaking to you. Some of the other talks have been recorded. Maybe if this might be put on YouTube, I'd encourage the organizers, if you want to put this on YouTube, so then somebody else can also take the benefit. Similarly, I've done some podcasts. I would encourage you to go take a look at that. So this gives you, we will constantly keep communicating from our end. Okay, but that said, look, you should follow your interests. Anything in the areas of deep tech, we will be focusing on making the deep tech innovation ecosystem far more vibrant. There'll be a lot more funding for scaling up, for startups, for all these other things coming shortly. There is a RDI fund that's going to be announced, which will again have a multiplier effect on India. So it's going to be very different India, right? It's going to be a very exciting India for you all. Okay, I will leave you with that thought. Okay,
thank you, sir.
Okay,
with this we want to conclude this session, and we want to, since you are not here, we want to felicitate you. Let us have a big round of let us have a big round of applause for NRLC.
Thank you. Okay, thank you guys. I got to take leave. All right, bye.